St Abbs Head is an absolutely amazing place. The scenery, the wildlife, the views are just absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best sea kayaking destinations around. It's a fantastic day paddle, and it's just a fantastic place to go and spend the day, just sitting on the cliff tops. The cliffs at St Abbs Head are just absolutely alive with seabirds during the summer months. Guillemots, razorbills, kittiwakes, herring gulls, shags, cormorants, they're all there. Even some gannets, which I was able to spot a couple of actually this time around. It's quite recent that they've started to nest there. There's lots of them further north and on the Firth of Forth on Bass Rock, but they were only recorded in 2017 for the first time, I think, ever, actually nesting on the cliffs at St Abbs Head. Maybe the real estate has become a bit crowded up on Bass Rock, so they're having to look further afield for somewhere to nest. The high cliffs and the headland of St Abbs were formed from volcanic rock millions of years ago. The softer rock north and south has been eroded away, leaving St Abbs Head standing proud into the North Sea. St Abbs Head and the fishing village of St Abbs, just a little bit further south, are named after a Northumbrian princess who was shipwrecked there in the 7th century. I believe her name was Abbe. I'll put the spelling up on the screen anyway, but I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. But yeah, that's where St Abbs gets its name from, and apparently she founded a nunnery at St Abbs Head, the remains of which can still be made out today. You can do this paddle from Coldingham Bay, which is just round the corner south of St Abbs itself. And by the time you round the first headland, there is St Abbs and St Abbs Head lying in front of you. It's not a very big paddle, quite convenient, but the put-in is a little bit awkward. There's quite a steep bank down to the beach, only space for one car to drop kit off and turn around at a time. So I always just find it easier to get on at Eyemouth. It doubles the length of the paddle, but by the time you've spent faffing getting cars and boats sorted out, you might as well have just paddled it. And it's a nice easy put in at Eyemouth, straight onto the beach and straight into the sea. So yeah, set out from Eyemouth, had a nice force 3 wind behind me. The flooding tide was just about starting when I got on the water, so I was going against that, but it had only just started, so it wasn't too strong. And that wind took me up nice and quickly to St Abbs. Had a nice little look around the harbour. Had to dodge a few of the diving boats that were coming in and out. And then before I knew it, I was rounding the corner to St Abbs Head itself, which, the views then just get unbelievable, and you just get a bit of a sore neck from just gazing up because the views are staggering. These cliffs are really high, and they're alive with seabirds. They're just everywhere. The sounds of them, it's amazing to just sit there and absorb it. It's a wonderful natural sight to take in. this trip is a really good opportunity to do some rock hopping. There's, you know, it looks like the land's been hit with a hammer. There's just bits of rock everywhere. You've got gullies, you've got lots of caves, lots of headlands poking out. But on this day, because I was by myself, I wasn't going to play too much. There wasn't much of a swell running, but it was enough to have a little bit of a play on some of the rocks. But I didn't want to push things too far. You don't want to risk hauling a boat or taking a swim when you're by yourself. So I played it fairly safe, and also all the seabirds are nesting on any available piece of rock. So if you're, you know, going along there a couple of feet away from the rock face itself, you run the risk of scaring the birds and disturbing them and sending them back into the water. In one of the gullies, the sea was just full of hundreds of jellyfish and comb jellies. Just hundreds of them in the water, just floating about. So I thought I would dunk the camera to try and get a couple of shots, which it worked out okay. I managed to make them out. The sea was quite clear that day. It was quite calm, so there wasn't much sediment kicked up, and you could make them out quite well. St Abbs Head is one of my favourite local paddles. It's less than 2 hours away, so it's not too far. But I only managed to make it there once last year and a couple of times the year before. So it was really special to get there, and on such a great day. You know, the weather was fantastic. The sea was just crystal clear, nice and calm. The sun was out, not a cloud in the sky, really hot day. So yeah, I couldn't have really asked for more. And as I've said, you know, the wind kind of took me to St Abbs, but that was forecast to drop later in the day, and it did. It dropped right off, actually more than predicted, so there was very little in the way of wind on the way back, and at that point the tide was at peak flow, taking me back south towards Eyemouth. So the paddle up was pretty easy, the paddle back was pretty easy, so it was just a lovely, lovely day on the water really. You couldn't really ask for more. Really is, you know, one of my favourite paddles. Certainly one of my favourite paddles in the local area. You know, it's less than 2 hours away, so it's not too bad to get to. And I definitely want to get there again before, you know, the seabirds disappear this year. So yeah, maybe 1 or 2 more paddles up there this year will be pretty good.